welcome to We Are No Alamo, the mental health podcast. Tonight we are interviewing people on the Austin Community College campus in Leander, Texas. We're excited to start opening up the conversation with real people in real situations about mental health and MI. We would like to give a special shout out to the Dean of the school at ACC and 4 members of the Marketing and Communications Department who run the social media pages where this will be hosted and posted. So let's get to the interviews. What do you say? Hi, and we are with our first interviewee for WANA, We Are No Alamo, the mental health podcast. Thank you for deciding to be on the podcast with us.
We're going to have my campus interview me.
So what is your name and who are you?
I'm Leo Winfrey. I'm a student here at mostly Round Rock campus. I'm here at Cypress Creek because that was all there was for availability.
Okay, what do you study?
English.
Congratulations. I have a BA in English as well. Okay, so a couple mental health questions for you. What do you know about mental health or mental illness in general today?
A bit. I'm on antidepressants. It's not something I am happy exists, but is a thing I'm dealing with.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that information. I myself has been diagnosed with bipolar and generalized anxiety, all of that. I am medicated as well. So this is thank you for being open and honest about it. So do you have stigma, issues from anyone you've talked about with this before?
Not as such. General reaction, just an, oh, cool.
That's awesome. How old are you? Do you mind me asking?
18.
18? Wow, congratulations. I was actually diagnosed when I was 18. So when were you diagnosed?
Technically 18.
Okay, so how has the journey been so far? Boring. Well, I think that's good sometimes for your mental health, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So how has your college experience been dealing with your depression?
Stressful.
Can you explain a little bit?
Well, college is in of itself stressful, and then just being sad all the time does not help.
No. Do you think that people struggling with mental illness, we call it MI, we're trying to neutralize the language around this struggle that we have. How do you cope every day, going to class, living your life? What would be a piece of advice that you would give someone going through this right now, especially after being diagnosed so recently yourself?
Establishing routine is super helpful. Just figuring out what you want to do and how you want to do it, and then just making yourself do it.
Sticking to a schedule is really good, a coping mechanism for people with depression. You get up, you take a shower, you go about your day, and you take your test and turn in your essays like a good BA, right?
Then you go home, sleep.
Yes, sleep is very important. So, what do you want to know about WANA?
Other than just getting people informed about mental health, what do y'all do?
So, basically, we are the mental health podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud and Player FM. And we go by WANA for, do you want to make a difference? Do you want to open up about your mental health? And We Are No Alamo means that you're not alone, because we're all in this together. And you can find out more about us on our website, wearenoalamo.com. And you can look for your interview when we broadcast this on Friday.
I'll probably do that because I love seeing myself on the internet.
Hey, well, you'll be hearing yourself on the internet. And yeah, check us out on iTunes and comment, rate, review, and let us know what you think, okay?
Can do.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Have a good one. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Hello, we are at the ACC campus and we are interviewing
Stephen Jones.
Thank you, Stephen, for being on We Are No Alamo today. So I'd like to ask you a couple questions regarding mental health. How do you feel about it in society today? How do you think it's being handled?
Handled by?
Exactly. So, for example, have you heard anything lately on the news regarding mental health and people who are starting to come out about their depression and anxiety?
Yeah, I do hear about it from time to time, yes.
How do you feel about that?
That they're coming out? I think it's great.
I think it's great. Have you yourself suffered from any sort of mental health issue?
Not lately, no.
Do you know anybody who has?
Oh, yeah, certainly. Certainly. My mother did. Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, she ended up killing herself.
Oh, so she completed suicide. Do you know what she was diagnosed with?
Depression.
Depression. So how did that affect you and your life, and how did it shape your view about mental health growing up?
Well, in her case, I have to be honest, I'm not at all surprised she did it. She was depressed because her husband had died several years before. She had been in a serious car accident and was pretty much incapacitated and really thought that was her only way out. I certainly felt bad about it, but I didn't feel that there was much that I could do about it either.
So what if I told you that I suffer from depression myself, and there are things that you can do? And number one is starting to open up about talking about it, like on podcasts like this. And I really appreciate you sharing your story. If you were going to give any advice to people who are going through a mental health, trying to find their baseline, a situation where they might be very depressed and think that they have no option, what advice would you offer them?
I would say don't keep it inside. Let everybody know about it, or let anybody know about it for that matter. The more friends you have is a big help. And in my mother's case, she had some friends, but they were all distant, didn't live near her enough. Although, again, it would have helped, but, it certainly couldn't have hurt.
So thank you very much, Stephen, for being with us today. You can listen to yourself being interviewed this Friday on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Player FM, wherever you get your podcast. So thank you again, and have a great night, okay? Thank you so much, honestly. Hello, we are at the ACC campus, and right now I am with. And how old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18. Thank you very much for being on We Are No Alamo, the Mental Health Podcast. I want to ask you a couple questions about what do you know about mental illness or anyone going through some sort of mental health situation?
I'm not big on the subject. I am taking psychology right now, and I'm just now learning about it more. All I know is that it's like a big factor in our society because there are a lot of people that suffer from it. So that's what I'm now.
So would you say that you get most of your information about mental health through the news or social media outlets?
Oh,
Do you have like an example that has resonated with you?
not really. I haven't really had any experiences with it.
Do you remember last year the UT stabbing situation?
I do.
What do you remember about it?
All I remember is this guy who just rolled up in the ADT and started stabbing people. That's all I knew about it because I didn't watch the news that much. All I saw was on social media.
So he pled not guilty by reason of insanity. He showed many schizophrenic symptoms, so he was let off for reason of insanity. How do you look at that kind of thing? Do you believe that it is a true disorder, such as a broken bone, or that it can be helped later on?
Well, it's not really like a broken bone. It is a mental disorder, which is a chemical imbalance. So it can be temporarily fixed with medication, but in the long run, if there's somebody with such a with a chemical imbalance, I don't think that ever can be solved.
So we treat the symptoms, right? I am on medication for bipolar, and so you're right, I treat the symptoms every day, but I also see my psychiatrist and my therapist. So you're extremely correct that medication can't fully heal a mental health issue, but it can certainly aid in developing a better baseline, right? So do you know anybody that deals with depression or anxiety?
I suffer from anxiety, and I don't take any medicine, but I do go to a therapist to help combat my what goes on in my head. And that works pretty well, but it doesn't ever fully go away. And I haven't taken medicine because I want that to be kind of like a last resort thing, because I want to be able to fight it myself. So
That's admirable. It really is, especially since you're seeking a treatment that works for you. And that's all that we can ask, right? So this podcast is about opening up the conversation, and I really appreciate you sharing your story. If you were going to give any advice to anybody going through a hard time or like just now dealing with depression or anxiety, what advice would you give them?
Everything happens for a reason, and it's not always as bad as we make it out to be. So,
Thank you very much for being on the podcast.
3, 2, 1, and we're live.
We're live. Hi there, and if this is your first time listening, welcome to the WANA fam. Before we get started, know that this is not a normal podcast. This podcast is designed to be a voice for you, and it's your podcast, and we want to be the place for you to go each week to listen, laugh, and feel loved and supported during your mental health journeys. Podcast, and we want to be you're the creators of this podcast, and it allows for support and growth to anyone at any time for any reason. Lastly, since you've been listening, you know that sometimes we might make light of difficult mental health situations, but I've been there, and sometimes it can be easier to talk about the dark stuff when there's a little laughter involved. But we want you to know that we take your mental health seriously. And if you have suicidal thoughts or a plan or depressed or anything, please stop listening to this podcast and call 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-TALK. Or you can text HOME, HOME, to 741-741. That's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. They provide 24/7 support to people in crisis situations. Remember, this podcast is about opening up the conversation. And remember, we want you to stay with us. You are not alone because we are no Alamo.
Yeah, we are.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Donnie, let's talk about last night.
I just want to say thank you for all the viewers that are watching right now. A little bit of a different format this week, due to the fact that we have officially gone out on our first session of interviews, public interviews, yesterday. We got a good hefty amount of interviews that will be going up on the actual video that will be launched on our channel Friday. Super exciting. So we were gonna put it in this, but we were like, let's just talk about it and give our thoughts.
Give you
on
a little sneak peek before you get to hear the actual people.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
so open.
Yeah,
like,
it was awesome. Such a good time.
We were so surprised. Well, not we. I can't speak for you, but I was so surprised. Honestly, we got there around 6:30, 7, sometime 6. Anyway, and we were asking people just walking in and out of the ACC Leander campus and saying, "Hey, we're hosting this podcast. We're no Alamo, and would you like to take a second to talk about mental health and your experiences?" And they were like, "Yes. And here's my story. And I take antidepressants, and this other person, I don't." And we talked to a woman who runs a Bible study for 6th to 11th graders. And she gave us a great resource that anyone who has a teenager would definitely benefit from, because it talks about, teens on social media and how that can be detrimental to their mental health and well-being.
Yeah, I was really taken back by some of the stories that we heard, and all of the honesty that we received from the public at Austin Community College. Excuse me. But yeah, overall, I just want to stress that it's definitely worth your time to see these people kind of raw, unfiltered, speaking about their run-ins with MI and how it has affected their lives and how it has made their lives worse or better, depending on who we actually spoke to. So I can't stress enough waiting just Friday morning. I'm putting it together right now. Friday morning, we're going to have this episode, but in the beginning of the episode, we're going to have all the interviews put together for a nice treat for you guys if you're interested in seeing the live interviews.
In the interviews, we interviewed people from 18 to 57 years old, 2 young guys, 1 middle-aged man and 1 middle-aged woman. And the way that they communicated their stories and their experiences, did not matter what their age was. It was the same vocabulary over and over. Like, did you notice that?
Yeah, the jury was it was like across the board just the same. There was no age was not in any way a factor to what people were thinking about MI and what people their ideas and their advice on
Yeah, I really liked that question. Like, what advice would you give for people in mental health situations based on your experience and their across the board? Talk to somebody, like, be open about it.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, that is the advice that we are given. And then we have this stigma attached to mental health, and, the struggle is real. And now we're finally starting to open up about it. And I think it can only get better from here.
Hey Paige, I wanted to ask you something real quick.
What?
And I wanted to get your opinion on it because I've been discussing this with my wife recently. She actually is like, you have to talk about it. We have to talk about it on the live show to see what people think. This whole ASMR fiasco. What do you think about it? Because I've been hearing different things. People have been getting, like the feedback that I've been seeing from people online is that like it's helping people deal with stress and anxiety and all this stuff. And I wanted to get your take on it because just it's like a huge thing on YouTube right now and in a lot. It's like a buzz right now.
So when you say ASMR, what are you referring to?
I'm referring to the whole auditory, auditory. I forgot the exact. It's like an acronym for auditory sensor motion response or something. I could be wrong on that. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But it's like those people that they go really close to. You know what I mean? Like they like
autonomous sensory meridian response.
Yeah, they like do this crazy
by
stuff.
Tingling sensation on the skin typically begins on the scalp and moves down. Ooh.
You haven't seen this yet?
No. Please.
Yeah, it's like if you can definitely hear me on your end, of course, but like it's basically people getting really, really close. Like I'm getting really close.
Last time we did.
You can hear my lips moving back and forth.
That is so gross. I know people have like,
you know what I mean? That's what it is.
Phobia of like the smacking thing, like
yeah.
Like
I personally find it gross.
Well, yeah, me too.
But people, it's
it
apparently
comes from my southern upbringing where do not smack while you eat. That is rude.
No, but it's like a thing. Like, let me make an example here, real quick. So, not my lips smacking together, but like
paperclip.
So, like, you take a bottle of water, and you'll like people will go near the microphone and it'll be like.
Happening now with my dogs because that's causing our dogs to bark.
But it's like it's these little sounds.
Hold on, I'm listening. I have to put them up.
Okay.
Everybody, this is Donnie's fault.
This is my fault. I start speaking about ASMR. Dogs go wild. Who let the dogs out? ASMR.
Who let the dogs out?
Oh
ASMR.
Boy!
And I guarantee you what's happening right now is that Matthew's coming home and they can hear him in the car.
They can hear him in the car. Psychopath. I love dogs.
You know what they say about dogs? And
they eat dog food?
No, and their ability. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the WANA fan. This is Panda.
Boy. Who's this Puff?
Panda is my service dog.
It's like a puffy dog. It's a puffy dog. For the listeners out there, it's an extremely puffy dog.
With anxiety and depression and PTSD, and she's very protective.
Does she have a holiday belt around her leash right now?
Yes.
It's like a green bell for the holidays?
She is. Yes, it is. She's very festive.
She's a festive dog.
Next time I'll put her in her service dog vest.
So
she's such a different dog whenever she goes to work than IRL.
So we were
So
talking
if anyone
about
ever has any questions, ask me.
yeah, for sure. We were talking about ASMR, and
Yes.
what I want you to do right now, Paige, is I want you to open up a video of ASMR, go onto YouTube, and just click one of the
The
videos
first
that has 7 billion views on it, because they all get like millions and millions of views, and just listen to this. Like,
really good reason that video exists. Let me explain. Welcome to a weird corner of the internet
hear this?
called
yeah, I hear that. You might want to.
Should I turn it down?
Feel when
Yeah, put it
listening.
down.
I'm here to explain what ASMR is.
Is that good?
You can feel it
Yeah, it's
too.
fine.
Hashtag news.
This thing is.
For this video, you may want to wear headphones because I'm going to show you some examples, and it could either feel really. There are over 100,000 subscribers to the video playing doctors, teachers, robots.
Oh gosh. Okay, I know exactly what this is now.
So you get the idea.
I know exactly what this is now. So for if you're trying to like come down off of a panic situation, then you listen to these certain stimuli, right? And then it helps you like focus in more. Is that what this is?
I really there's no scientific. They're still trying to find out scientific explanation behind why people are so they're like obsessed
With these
listening.
auditory.
This auditory response that like gives people
Yeah.
this feeling of being like some people I feel like it's divided right now. Some people it freaks them out. Other people it makes them feel great.
Yeah.
And
I've
fall into
heard
the category
of,
of
I actually do this myself. I'll turn on whale songs on my Google Home, and
like real well.
Yeah, like I speak whale. Going
Wait,
down.
I feel like they're more of like a something like that.
Something like that.
Get Matt on screen. Have Matt do a whale sound.
He's not here.
Oh, so they're barking for no reason.
Yeah, but Sarah, the other dog, is very concerned. All right, Donnie. So, what was the biggest takeaway for you yesterday?
Yeah, we were getting off an ASMR tangent right there. I just wanted to get your opinion on it. But yeah, yesterday, it was really good. It was also really scary. Scary because I couldn't believe how literally every person that we ran into has issues with MI. Like there was
Or
not
a
one
story.
yeah, there was or a story. There was not one person that was like, "Oh, what?
No,
Nah,
I'm
I'm
afraid.
fine." Like there was nobody that was like, "What? No, I'm totally cool, dude. I'm here right now studying. Like just took a test, failed." Like there was none of that. It was like, "Oh yeah, I'm on medicine right now. I'm on depressants. I'm on that." Like, and I really I was taken back because it's like you don't really doing this show and being part of this and speaking and kind of being in a private home, and it's so different when you're
Thank
out
you,
there in the
Claire.
public and you're listening to my wife talking in the background really loud and hey, quit it. No, I'm kidding. I love my wife. I would never talk to her that way.
I love your wife.
But yeah, it was like I was super taken back because I've never really done that. Never gone out and got a public perception of
I felt like Leslie Nope. Like, would you like to put a park here?
yeah.
And I was expecting them to be like, no.
Yeah,
But everyone was like,
crazy.
yeah, please, here's my story. And I loved how we, 2 18-year-old boys, men, teenagers, one was on pills and was trying to get off, and one was like, I just want that to be the last resort.
Yeah,
you know, and
he was like
I want you guys to hear these stories.
Yeah.
Because it couldn't have, in my opinion, I was texting Donnie, I was being all sappy, like, thank you so much on this journey. You know, it's so great to, you know, be an outlet that people are very receptive to.
Yeah.
So follow our Facebook page and this YouTube channel, and we will start pushing away the microphone.
Yeah.
I
was actually
or will be next when we're recording.
I was actually even more taken back by the fact of like I was expecting people to be like, what are you selling? Or like, hey, get away from me, bro. Like, you're just this weird guy standing here with a camera in your hand. Or like,
A
but
big
people
light.
were really looking for, it was almost like they were looking for an outlet to talk about it. And we were
Yeah.
offering that in that moment. We were giving what we do here, giving this piece of like love and respect and
Yeah. And also,
passion.
don't you think that's what people want? Like after a big test that they might have bombed.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to talk about my anxiety now.
Yeah, I just think that I think the biggest impact for me was and like a spoilers on the interviews if you're gonna watch them on Friday, but I just want to get like the one guy that we talked to where he was just like you asked him a question, you were like, so have you suffered with MI in the past? And he was like, no, I just deal with it my own way. And then you were like, oh, what examples do you have of it in your life? And he's like, my mom killed herself. And it was like, what?
What? And that was like our first interview.
Yeah. And I was crazy, like so sad and so raw and like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, for real.
It woke me up for sure.
Yeah. And then the last woman that we interviewed, she offered up some great advice to people who interact with teenagers. And she, not necessarily a warning, but a point of precaution for teenagers just because they can get so wound up in social media. And she suggested a book that, please listen tomorrow. You'll get that information from her in that book. I want for you to listen to her story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was crazy. The whole the raw, realistic angle that I have yet to see doing this for the past few months. And we're going to be doing more of that in different locations.
Hopefully you do interviews like earlier in the week and then do something like this to kind of tease it. Maybe if you give $1, you can get a little piece of the internal action.
I was even seeing about, like, depending on the person's location, of course, but getting somebody on an interview to talk about that and then getting them on the show after, having them watch the interview before they know they're going to be on the show, if they agree to be on the show, and then having them watch their interview back and getting their reception to watching themselves speak about something that affects them. Like like something along those lines. I was thinking about it as far as
or if they want to add to it.
Yeah.
So please, guys, put in the comments section your suggestions. We are a startup mental health podcast, and it is based on you guys. So please, we are your cheerleaders. Just give us how to tell you to rah, rah, rah.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. Let me know the move set to cheer you on. I don't know.
A plus 2.
Bring it on. Great.
Purple.
Dance classic. Yeah, overall, I think the next place we're going to be going to is Lakeland Mall. Are you really doing that right now? I can't believe you're doing that.
What?
Stop doing that. Don't do that. You're no cheerleader.
Are you talking to your dog?
I'm talking to my dog.
I was like, stop doing it. I'm sticking my. I've been running. That's why my skin's so pretty.
Oh yeah, look at that. You're glowing today. You had a good day at work. You were doing your thing.
I had a great day at work. Like this week's been crazy. I had 2 big presentations and I rocked it.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
And how is your diet going?
I got yelled at by a bridezilla today.
You and your wife are getting married again so soon?
Yeah, no. So for those of you who don't know, on the side, I do video work for weddings from time to time, and I actually got a bride on the phone today. Talk about anxiety and just like the pure definition of a bridezilla in every way. And I will obviously won't put her name out here for people to know, but it was wild. It got to the point of the conversation where I was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, usually when people lash out, like, right, the things That's what my mom always told us when we would lash out, like, okay, where's this really coming from? And the fact that this is how the story's starting makes me really excited.
She was just really angry, and I get the stress of getting married and planning and all that. It's totally normal. But yeah, she was like, "You don't know what you're doing," and I was like, "I'm so like, I don't know what else to tell you that's going to make you." And then I got to a point in the conversation where I was like, "It's gonna be okay. You're gonna be happily married. Just let this go. Like, you're gonna be fine. Everything's
Yeah.
gonna be okay." And she was like, "Yeah." She
Yeah.
just like sighed, and I was like,
You needed someone to say it, like you need to hear it.
"Yeah." I think the old me before I started doing this podcast, I think the old me would have been like, "Who the fuck you think you're talking to?" Or like just because I don't let anybody speak to me like that. But I think
So
in a
you're
way,
growing as a person because of this podcast.
oh yeah, for sure. I think this podcast has
Thank
definitely
you.
changed me to approach things differently in my life when it comes to stressful situations. Because like I said in I think 2 episodes past, I was talking about how it's like kind of my stress reliever and like my moment to talk about things that go on in my life and just be open.
And
So
something that you know is going to happen. Like
yeah.
it's really helpful for me, and it's definitely decreased. Like sometimes I see the depression monster,
Yeah.
and I choose not to give into that and get up and do my schedule because I have to go to work and I have to do a bomb ass fucking job, and I have to prove to my recruiter and my bosses that I'm good enough and strong enough to do that. And then to come home and be exhausted. But I'm like, no, because when you're depressed, you sleep a lot. And that's the first gate that I can't open. So I do WANA. And
Yeah.
it's so hashtag I want to keep doing it.
I see what you did there.
Yeah,
So overall, I feel like this episode, we're gonna keep it at like a 25-minute mark this episode because we have about 20 minutes of this full episode going live on Friday that you're gonna have access to, where you're gonna get this kind of breakdown of all the interviews and step by step. And but overall, Paige, I want to ask you before we kind of ride into the sunset with this this semi episode before the new one comes out on Friday. What do you think about first time interviewing people that you don't know?
I'm an analyst. So it's my job to come in cold to someone that I don't know in a department that I know nothing about and talk to them about how they do stuff in their business coming from ground zero.
Yeah.
I've learned that you need to build a foundation based on something that you both are interested in, or just something. Like a compliment goes a long, long way.
Yeah.
And I think that came along in my interviews last night where it's like just humbly approaching the subject. Hey, this is a mental health podcast. I wasn't looking at it like an interview as much as I was looking at it like, I want to build a friendship and a relationship with you. I want you to remember what We Are No Alamo is and what it's about. And I myself take a step back. We talked about that in the initial one, and I think it was so much better after that.
Yeah. No, you did great. I mean, it took you, yeah, you were right. It took you that first one to kind of feel out how to handle people that you don't know at all.
Yeah.
And I think you did great. I think for first, I think you're only gonna get better. And I think it also depends on atmosphere, like right, like where you're at, like what location you're at. I think next episode that we do that's gonna have these live interviews, we're gonna test ourselves. I think we're gonna go into a more filled, populated environment where there's gonna be all different kinds of people from families to I was thinking of like doing like a mall or something like that where you get people all different spectrums.
And please leave comments, you guys. Remember, it's your podcast.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know what you want to.
We're spitballing right now. You let us know what's up. Or else we'll keep trying things, and as soon as something sticks.
For sure.
stick with
Those comments are super important because it helps us be organic and decide like where the show is going in accordance to the people that are watching it. And
Right.
so
And
I
we
can't stress enough.
definitely appreciate you commenting while watching the next podcast YouTube video, because these interviews, these people are real and their stories are real.
Yeah.
Each interaction was less than 5 minutes, and there's just so much real content and heart in that, and we want you to experience that.
What
So
what about before we go, I wanted to ask you also, don't you hate when
I
that
like this
happens?
kind of be an interviewed thing, because I was interviewing all yesterday.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. I totally blanked. It was something super important, but yeah. Any questions too, you can email Paige, right? wearenoalamo@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. I'll always get back to you.
Yeah.
My percentage of getting back to people is 100% currently within 24 hours. So
Yeah, you're good at that. So
Your
cool.
advantage.
I mean, this is pretty much get ready because Friday morning, this is going to be the full episode is going to go up with this live stream attached to all of the interviews. It's going to be fantastic. I'm excited for that. I'm almost done putting that together from an editing standpoint.
Thank you so much, Donnie. And
That's our cue.
Matthew's here. Remember, you're not alone because we are no Alamo. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. See you Friday.